when you woke up this morning, you needed a plan of action. Today is all we have. And so you woke up this morning, you've gone to work, and at some point, the day will be over and it'll be at the end of the day. If you want to increase your sales, my question is, did you focus on actions that would increase your sales? It really is that simple. To increase sales revenue, we have to increase the action we are taking on sales processes. So time management, productivity, and efficiency, when it comes to increasing sales revenue, means that you need to allocate your time toward sales concepts, which I'm going to share today. You need to become more productive by focusing on those things. And then as you become more proficient in sales, you'll become more efficient in sales. So everything that we're going to talk about today goes back to the very beginning of where it started. Now, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for just a moment. When I was in sales, and I guess we're all still in sales, I'm certainly still in sales, I knew that my life was chaos. I would walk into the office with absolutely no idea of what I was going to sell, who I was going to sell it to, or how I was going to try to grow my business. And I'd love for someone in sales and chat just to say, yes, I get it. We think in sales, we know what we should focus on, but sometimes we don't focus on those sales. So just making sure that y'all are with me. Has anyone ever in sales walked in and just had absolutely no plan? So back in the 90s, before I created the daily planner, I created a single sheet of paper that we're going to be talking about today that is called the Daily Progress Report. And as I walk you through this piece of paper, I want you to be thinking about, if you want to increase sales, then you need a process. There can't be any more shower planning, which is where you wake up in the morning and you think about all these people that you need to call to sell something to. But by the time you get to your office, it's easier to pull up your email and get distracted. So I want to help you focus on how I personally ended up in the top 11% in sales at Morgan Stanley nationwide. So I'm not just here talking about theories. I'm actually going to share with you, which I'm pretty excited about, how I built a $150 million business. And I want you to be able to do that. These weekly classes are not theory. The things that I'm sharing with you are the things that made me incredibly successful in business. Now, what I want you to hear clearly is, it's not just about business at the 7-Minute Life. It's about re-engaging with your heart, body, mind, and soul. But don't step back from the fact that we've got to make a living. And if you're in sales, you're in the right place today to learn how to not kind of increase your sales, but to geometrically increase your sales. So I'm super excited about getting to go back. It's sort of to where this started. But if you want to increase your sales, then you don't even have to be efficient. You just have to take more of the right action. So if you're taking notes, I want you to put down, increasing sales requires increasing sales-focused action. It is really that simple. And I think that's what's exciting about the 7-Minute Life. Now, this is going to be really new to a lot of you, so I would like you to actually handwrite this out on a sheet of paper. Increasing sales revenues means keeping track of what you're spending your time doing. We just talked about that every day we wake up and at the end of the day we go to bed. If you focus on valuable sales activities, guess what? You're going to increase your sales revenue. And the simplest way to do that is to keep track of the actions you take. So I'd like you to draw this little scale physically, take your pencil or pen and draw this out. There is no right or wrong way to keep track, but at the 7-minute life, I wanted to keep it super, super simple. So what I've done is that every action I take, I've assigned a value on a scale of 1 to 5. So teaching this webinar to you is a 5 for me. Making sure that I'm giving powerful content, educating our members, people that are involved with the 7-minute life, is very high value. So teaching this class it's a 5, it's probably a 50. This is what I love to do most. But I want you to start thinking about the actions you've taken today. And if you've got a written list, I'd love for you to put down kind of a score beside the things that you've done. How many things, specific activities on your written list have been not valuable? And that could be reading leftover emails. It could be wasting time trying to find a folder. But what have you done that has been most valuable today? So every action you take, in my mind, has a value. And in sales, we want to focus on the most valuable tasks. So this is pretty simple, but it's really powerful. The first question you have to ask yourself is, what action grows your business? What action grows your business? And this is where coaching comes in. I do a lot of one-on-one coaching. It's $500 an hour, so it's still expensive. That's why these classes, being so inexpensive, is a bargain. But when I'm coaching someone in business, often they're not aware of what makes them business, or what grows their business, what increases sales. So I want you to think about what action will grow your business. I'm actually going to show you the specific actions that grew my business, but I want you to think about what's going to grow your business. Now, we talked about needing a plan. If you're going to grow, one of the tools you're going to have is the 7-minute life daily planner. Now, it's an Amazon product. I'm going to show you how to get it. It's not something that we make a ton of money on, but if you've been coming to these classes and you're not quite sure yet how to create the written plan of action, how to use the processes, how to focus on your high value, then this is the tool. We've realized we've gotten a lot of questions from people of where do you start? So here is where you start, is with this tool. So I'll show you how to get it on Amazon. But it's when I look back at my business of not having a plan and going forward of having a plan, I realized that what I was lacking were the tools. I didn't have repeatable processes and tools. Now, this class is not on the daily planner. You're going to need it to kind of move forward, but it's shocking to me that a lot of you have not even ever seen the inside of it. So I'm going to take just a second and show you what the inside of the planner looks like. So let's see if I can pull this up. All right. This is a really cool piece of technology that I have just found. Oh, add a title. How do you add a title? Description, title, daily planner. When you're looking to increase sales revenue, okay, confirm and publish. I really like letting people know, and we just haven't. So let me share my screen again. Let me pull this up full screen. And what I'm hoping that you'll do is put in chat how cool this little piece of software is. So let me go back to Zoom. Are y'all ready? I know everybody's on bated breath to see this. This is a brand new tool for us so that people can see. Let's see if I can't make this bigger. Full screen. Well, or not. Okay, so I want to give you a view inside the planner. So when you get your copy of the daily planner, and this is not a commercial for the planner, but a lot of you have never seen the inside of what this looks like. So I want to get to just a couple of pages, but there's an introduction to all of it. In sales, we want people to, connect with everything that is important and priorities and purpose. So all of these pieces, I'm just flipping through it piece by piece. But what we're going to be talking about today is how do you go beyond just creating a life plan into actually planning out your days. And so where we're going to spend our time today is on these internal pages that we call the daily progress report. So I hope this is helpful. I'd love to see in chat, are all of you familiar with the daily planner? Because a lot of people aren't. So that's what it looks like. It's just being able to give you a quick tour of what it looks like. So this is where we're going to focus today. Inside the daily planner is, okay, Mozelle is saying, I've kind of seen it, but would love the Amazon link. You just go to Amazon and type in the 7-Minute Life Daily Planner. Hang on. You just go to Amazon and type in the 7-Minute Life Daily Planner, and they'll ship it to you in a couple of days. So the 7-Minute Life Daily Planner on Amazon. So hope that helps. Kind of pulls up a lot of different ones. All right, well, I'm actually going to give you the actual link at the end. I don't have it right here, but I will give it to you. But the progress report is the tool that is going to grow your sales. And I'm going to really take a deep dive into how you can do it. Inside the planner, there are 90 pages of daily progress reports. You want to, very first thing, if you want to grow your sales, take ownership of your day. You're going to hear me say this a lot. So today is Tuesday, and you want to put a stake in the ground and say, this is how I want to spend my time. Thank you for appreciate that. Mozelle just put the link to Amazon in it. So you want to take ownership of your day. Now, this is the sales version of the planner. When you want to increase your sales, remember I said you have to focus on high value activities. As you're keeping score, what would happen if you could accomplish 5 sales activities, 5 high value sales activities before 11 a.m.? We call that creating your 5 before 11 list. If you would, even today, and it's already, I don't know, 12:30 here, 1:30 in Eastern, but even today, if you would focus on accomplishing 5 high value sales actions for the next 7 days, you'd accomplish 35 high value sales actions. 35. And I'm going to actually show you what made me money as a financial advisor, but think about your own business. What makes you money? I guarantee you that the first thing that's going to make you money is building your network. We have a class on networking, which we'll come back and teach again. It's one of my favorite classes, but every time you pick up the phone and make a connection with someone, you are expanding your opportunity to sell to people. And so when you want to grow your business, you got to tell lots of people about what you do. Now, here's the first secret I'm going to share, is that not everyone that I call on a daily basis, and certainly you don't want to just call 3, but I think 3 is a great start. When you connect with people in sales, you want to tell the world about what you do. So I'm going to pretend that I'm a realtor. We have a lot of realtors that are part of the 7-Minute Life. Not everyone is going to need a realtor on any given day. So if you're prospecting and you're calling people that are buying or selling homes, in that moment, there are a gazillion realtors trying to call people that in the moment are trying to buy or sell a home. What I use is what I call precipitating event phone calls. So I'd like you to write that down, precipitating event phone calls. What I want people is 3 years from now to know, and I'm not a realtor, but from 3 years from now, I'd want people to know I'm a realtor. And the way you do that is you pick up the phone every day and you call people who are not buying homes. and you say something like this: hey, this is Allyson Lewis. I'm with XYZ company. And I just want you to know that I buy and sell homes. I mean, it's not really all that hard. It's especially easy to make precipitating event calls because they're not under the gun to buy anything. And all you're doing is letting people know. It works better for me if I call someone I kind of know, but I kind of know hundreds of people. So how scary would it be to pick up the phone and contact some of the hundreds of people that you kind of know and say, hey, I want you to know that I'm in the real estate business. And there are a lot of things going on in real estate. And if this is why it's precipitating an event, if you decide to buy or sell a home, I want to be on the list. But there's a second part of this script that I think people forget. You want to amplify every phone call you make. So when I'm making a precipitating event call, and I'm now going to continue on as though I'm a realtor, what I would do is give people ideas of other precipitating events. So it would sound something like this: hey, this is Allyson Lewis. We met at the Chamber of Commerce event, and I just want to know, because we're in business, I'd like to let you know that I'm a realtor. And most people aren't currently buying or selling a home. But when you run into someone that's had a job opportunity where they're moving, or they're moving into a new school district, or they've gone through a death or a divorce, when somebody like that pops up on your radar, I'd love to have them call me. And that's it. You just want to create awareness in sales, and you want to do it day after day after day. I rarely would call people and say, hey, do you want to move your $1 million account from XYZ financial advisory firm to mine? When I was calling people, I would just say, hey, this is Allyson Lewis. I'm with Morgan Stanley, and I want you to know what I do. And when someone has a divorce or a death or receives life insurance, I want you to think of me, and I'd love to do business with your friends. So those are high value actions. Now, why did this single sheet of piece of paper change my life? And how is this going to revolutionize your sales revenues? I see people in sales every day that don't contact prospects. We have a lot of mortgage lenders, realtors, financial advisors. If you're in sales, the more people you tell what you do, the more products you're going to sell. And really, I guess in any industry. When I was in my 20s, I read an article that the average financial advisor made 9 outbound calls a day, asking people to do business with them. 9. That's like 1 an hour. I'm thinking, how can a salesperson make a living making 1 call an hour asking a prospect to do business with them? And so at my tender age, I thought, well, what if I made 18 phone calls a day? And I thought, well, I bet I'd double my business. 18 outbound phone calls a day, 2 an hour. And as I began to keep score, I recognized that the more calls I made, the more money I made. So I didn't make 18. I would at times make up to 75 calls a day. Now, I don't have to do that anymore, but if you're new in the business or really want to crush it, you got to tell a lot of people what you do. So this daily progress report does all kinds of things, including keeping you hydrated, making sure you're sleeping and exercising and all of these things. But let me walk you through why this repeatable process is going to make a difference. So here we are in the daily planner. There are 90 pages of daily progress reports. This is your command post, basically. This is where you keep track of everything. As you're looking at making these daily contacts, I want you to see probably something you've never seen before. We just haven't had the opportunity to share this, the secret sauce. Can you see these little tick marks over on the side? This was something that I created for me that a lot of users have never really paid attention to, I guess. This is where I would keep score of the value of my actions. Now, I told you today is going to be really cool, but there's a high value, low value scale. Some are worth 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, 4 points, 5 points. I wanted to focus on as many high value actions as I could, and I actually tracked them here. So if I had a high value action, I would get what I would call 5 points. And I'm going to show you how this works. This is actually just an introduction to a longer class, but what I wanted to do was not make 18 calls. I wanted to get to a specific number of points that were high value. And this is a great class to teach live with a sales team. And the beauty of it, it's easy. I created a tracking system, low value activities, high value activities. And on this page, I could track it. So here is my tracking. You may want to take a screenshot of this, this tracking system. I realized that things had to be done. Even if I had to make an administrative call, if it needed to be done, I would give myself 1 point for that. And I actually, not that you really care, but I actually have a hash mark system for doing that. But it was an action that I still had to do. I'd also give myself 1 point for sending out an email if it were important. If I were calling a client, someone I already did business with, I would get a point on my tracking system because I couldn't control if somebody answered the phone or not. I could only control if I made the outbound attempt. If I had a client that was already doing business with me and I talked to them, I still got a point for doing that. But now the value begins to go up. If I was prospecting on a specific day, yeah, nice mindset. So if I was focusing on prospecting that day, a prospecting call had more point value to me. And I think that just simply makes sense. So if I prospected somebody, I would get 3 points. It didn't matter to me if I actually just made the outbound call or if I completed the call. Either way, I still got the points because I could not control the action of whether the other person would pick up the phone or not. So basically, the tracking system is tracking my action, not outcomes. Let me say that again. The tracking system is tracking my action, my outbound action. Outcomes are just a byproduct of how many actions you make. What I really wanted to do was to have a face-to-face appointment with a prospect. For that, I received 5 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're a realtor, it would be showing a house or whatever it is that you do that's super high value. I would get 5 points for attending a networking event. And that's part of that networking class. I see a lot of people that go to networking events, but they've never been trained how to network. That is kind of a secret inside peek. And when I'm teaching a class like this, because I do a lot of teaching online, I actually give myself credit for every attendee that attends a class like this. So when we'll teach a public class, we'll have 300, 400, 500 people register. Let's say 146, 147, 200 show up. That's a blowout day for me. We want people to know about the 7-minute life. So I'm going to escape out of this for just a second. Oh, there we go. Discard. I'm going to discard these and I'm going to come back in, play from current slide. What I think the hard part is for most people, even if you're not in sales, you're kind of in sales. But even if you're just part of the 7-minute life, what are your high value actions? Again, I'm sharing with you, but the same thing's probably true if you're not in sales. If you're making an administrative task, it's probably lower value. Emails, lower values. Attempted call is a pretty decent value. But what are the things that really move you forward? So this hash mark, this hash system, became very important to me. So let me actually show you. Again, these classes, I'm not intending to just tell you what I do. I want to actually show you, which I think is incredible. You're getting kind of an inside look at how I personally grew a business. So doesn't matter what date this is just an example. In your daily planner, you're going to have every day a blank daily progress report. And every day in sales, you're going to ask yourself, what is my goal for today? And you're going to take 7 minutes to actually think about, if you're in sales, let's get this. You're going to actually take 7 minutes. You're going to set a timer for 7 minutes to create a to-do list. So when you do that, you're going to ask yourself, what are the 5 highest value actions I could take? So on this day, and the names are all changed. So this was a real day, but I've changed the names. If my goal back at this point was to increase sales revenue, then guess what was on my list? Calling a new prospect, calling and following up on a referral, calling the person that sent me that referral and asking them for more referrals, setting up an appointment with someone. And I also had an administrative that I needed to finish recommendations. The beauty of creating your 5 before 11 list is, if I can only complete 5 high value things, 5 high value actions every day, in a week, I'd accomplish 35 high value actions. So those are actions. Now, let me show you how this ended up for the day. This was actually back several years ago when I was still doing financial advisory services. But in my industry, I would have to call people, remember? So again, the names are changed. Someone called in and they had a question about their IRA. I just got 1 point. Someone else called in and had a municipal bond, 1 point. Somebody called in that was a prospect and set up an appointment. So look at there, I got 3 points for that. I had a meeting with the client, and so I just gave myself 5 points for that. 5 points for that. Here was a new prospect. Now I have a tracking system. You can come up with yours, but remember, prospects, I get 3 points. Face-to-face meetings, I get 5 points. So you can go all the way through and see how I keep track of things. So looking at this worksheet on that day, my goal is to end every day when I was an advisor with 25 points. Basically, I could control the outbound action. I couldn't control the outcome of the outbound action, but I knew if I made high quality outbound action, over time, it was going to grow my sales. Now, this is an advanced class, but I feel free to take a screenshot of this so you can at least get some ideas. But when you get your daily planner and you're using your daily progress report, to ask yourself, what are the 5 highest value actions to increase sales? Today, we're talking about sales. You have to determine what actions make you money. You know, what are the most important, highest value actions? You have to create your own point system. And also, depending on where you are in the business, I used to make, 75 calls, 50 calls a day. So you have to decide these things. But the beauty of having a tool is that you can create a tracking code for yourself and place it in. And when I'd have a day like this, I'm not even sure you can see these, but I put little bullet points on the planner. So each one of these is 10 points. So I could kind of see. So I had 10 points, 20 points, 30 points. This is a real day, 30 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So at the end of this day, I had 35 work points. That's a pretty good outbound day. Again, when I'm working with people, I share these tracking codes when I'm coaching them, but you can create whatever tracking code it is that works for you. Now, I wish that we had time for a ton of questions, but if you have a question about this, feel free to put it into chat. You can watch the webinar replay and watch this again should you want to do that. Now, we're going to continue to teach these classes live, but we are changing how we do the webinar replay, so be on the lookout for that. So as I begin to wrap up what we're talking about today, sales is simply a reflection of valuable action. That's it. I've just recently re-listened to Brian Tracy's The Psychology of Selling. It's a 40-year-old book, but bottom line, he says, if you're in sales, you got to wake up every day, you got to put your best foot forward, and you got to go out there and sell. And I always love listening to these books because they pump you up. I wish I could do some kind of poll and say, how many of you guys are in sales? And even looking back over the last several hours of today, did you focus on actions that would grow your sales? And if not, then we need to do that. Because in sales, at the end of the day, did I do what I said I'd do today? I like having that not be arbitrary. I like that having be a specific number, 25. So when I wanted to get to 25 points, I had a specific tracking system. I knew exactly how many of these actions I needed to take to get to a specific point. And when I got to 25 points, I'm sorry, I can't write that. At the end of the day, at the bottom of the page, when it said, did I do what I said I would do today? Yes. Now, the 7-minute life is filled with grace. There are multiple days that you won't hit whatever goal you've had as far as outbound sales, calls. But boy, at least having a bar to shoot for if you're in sales makes a difference. So as I kind of wrap up on this, these are all the things you could do. Anyone, whether you're in sales or not, you could choose from any number of actions. So imagine that every dot on this image is just kind of an allegory for all the things you could do on any given day. We already know what makes us money in sales. We already know the projects. If you're looking at your desk, and I'm looking around my desk, you could probably pick up one name of a person that you know would be the most important. So you already know who that person is that you need to call. Well, just pick up the phone and call them. You also know these tiny little specks of low value actions that you could do that you don't need to focus on. So create some kind of method or pathway or behavior that helps you focus on the most important things. This image is a picture of what we call the cow path. And again, I'm writing with a mouse, so my handwriting actually is better than this. But I want you, as we are maybe 10 minutes away from closing out, so any questions that you have, feel free to put them into chat. But as I wrap this up, I'm giving you all the information I can about selling. And the bottom line is selling means you have to call people. And that's why you have to make daily contacts. We get in a rut. I was a financial advisor for 31 years. For 31 years, we need to focus on high value things. Now, I'm just going to put the cards on the table. I see a lot of people in sales that have been at it a long time, and they're not hitting their very best in sales. It's like somehow they've put this belief on themselves that they'll never be spectacular in sales. And that is crazy. So what the cow path is if you're in sales and you've been only moderately successful, as you go back and look at your to-do list, look at the things that you've done, have you been stuck in a rut that we would call the cow path? If you've been moderately successful doing these same routines every day, and you want to be super successful, then how can you get out of the cow path? What do you need to do? If you've been making 5 calls, maybe you need to make 10. If you've been making 25 calls, then up the ante and make 50. I have one of my coaching clients right now that is making more than 120 calls a day. Now, that's a different industry. But what is it going to take for you to get to the level where you go, man, I love my job. I'm selling. I'm doing the right things. Because if we continue to stay in the cow paths, if we continue to do what we've done in the past, we're going to get the same results. So the cow path, when I look at that, it's like holding a mirror up to myself and saying, Allyson, if you want to be different, if you want your business to grow, then you've got to sell. And so today, we've really talked about sales, and I cannot for the life of me understand why it's easier for me to teach about time management than it is to teach about sales revenue. Somehow along the way, we've somehow created this mindset that sales, I don't know, that we shouldn't focus on sales. We should focus on other things. Well, business is created by revenue. Now, I believe as you focus on the right things, there's way more to it. But today, I hope I'm really letting you know that you got to focus on getting more of the right things done. Focus on the high value things. So I'm going to step in with one last kind of call to action for you, because I do think these webinars week by week, it's exciting for me to get the emails, to see the posts in the Facebook community, because people are growing their business with our tools. And I've written this out because if you think about it, we have covered a lot in the last few minutes. And so you can't possibly, embrace all of this in just a few minutes. And I want to encourage you that these classes that you're coming to week after week, none of this is theory. I'm excited because I'm actually showing you what I did. I'm not just saying go do it. I'm actually showing you how I improve my daily productivity, how I increase my sales. And I hope that those of you on this call are beginning to become raving fans for us, because we want to grow. So our student base, our books have sold 130,000 copies, but getting a book is not the same as getting the education. So please begin to tell your people, and today was on sales, I get that, but it doesn't matter if somebody's in business. The steps of learning how to track your activities are the same. So every industry has low value and high value business. So we're never sure why people come. Maybe you are fed up with being disorganized and overwhelmed. Well, we're glad you're here. Or maybe you hate the cow path and you want new behaviors. Or maybe you're just looking to be more proactive in work. But whatever that reason is, the 7-minute life is growing exponentially. So I want you to make some commitments to come week by week. We see the same people coming to these classes, and I'm so glad you're here. But I have cracked the code on some of these simple systems. And I've written this out because I want you to see it. I believe you're going to be more productive. And using these tools has changed my life and the lives of other students. And it is repeatable. You can practice it day after day. And so I believe you can do it. That's why I have it down here. I believe you can do it. So the question is, for all of us in this call, that you can apply the strategy. You can apply the system for re-engaging in your work. Today, we've talked about increasing sales, but you can think about it. You can show up at these events, or you can actually take the action. So I kind of, I have a lot of people that coach me, and they're always kind of too nice. And they're like, Allyson, you're doing a great job. But one of them looked at me and said, Allyson, are you doing all you want? Is this the level of sales you want to be? Basically said, you can do it like you have in the past. Allyson, you can live in the cow path and have a good living, but I felt like I wanted more. So I hope today I'm kind of encouraging you to up the ante, to up the ante. And this 7-minute life daily planner, I know y'all are getting close. So I think, Mazel, you've put the link in, but let me just show you. The 7-minute life daily planner is not this. If you're not familiar with it, you can read more about it. It's got all kinds of worksheets in it, but this, because there are several up there, I want you to take action today. I'm not sure how many of you have the planner. This is what revolutionized my life. If you don't have the planner, again, we sell them to Amazon at a huge discount. This is not our profit center, but it's a tool that we want you to have. And I don't even know what they're, it's $23. I want you to make some choices today to get the tools. Now, here's the crazy part about it. If you order the planner, it's not going to change your life. I'm not here selling you anything else today. The planner is a tool, but if you get the tool and you don't use it, it's not going to help. But I want you to go and get your copy of the daily planner. I'm going to come back and do a quick recap. Moselle, and I am seeing a couple of questions. You have 2 books, The 7-Minute Solution and The 7-Minute Difference. The 7-Minute Difference is a little bit of an easier read. The 7-Minute Solution is the next book in the series. So I would read The 7-Minute Difference first, and then I would read The 7-Minute Solution. This is the workbook. This is how you get started. So I'm going to leave this up on the screen while we're doing it. Please feel free to put anything in the chat, but you're going to go to Amazon and click on or search the 7-Minute Life Daily Planner, and you're going to click on add to cart, and they are on sale for a whopping 8% off. So I'm going to leave that up there for just a minute. Sam says 31 years. Wowza. And yeah, 31 years. And I loved it. And, we're all still in sales. So everybody got it. You can go to Amazon directly. It looks like they only have 18 left. Make sure you get that. I'm going to just do a recap. So let me close out of this, discard. Each week as we come to these classes, I want you to think about what your big takeaways are. Today, we were talking about increasing revenue. And as I do the recap, I want you to think about high value action. It's all about the outgoing action. You don't have control over the outcomes. You only have control over the action. If you want to grow your business, you don't have to be more efficient. You have to focus on more action. I created a simple tracking system of a scorecard from 1 to 5. You can create any kind of tracking system that you want, but you have to know what action grows your business. So if we were in a one-day thing, and if you work for a company, I hope you'll tell them to call me, but if we were in a one-day class training a sales team, we would spend a lot of time on what action grows a salesperson's business. What do you say? Who do you call? There are all kinds of things that we need to know. But I for sure know that most people in sales don't have a tool. Now, it's not a magic wand. The daily planner is only a tool. But it's going to remind you to take 7 minutes because you need a plan of action. There's no doubt. You need a process. You need to focus on high value. What are you going to accomplish 5 before 11? We've lost sight of the fact that when we're willing to do something, we need to do it to our very best. So I showed you a tour. I showed you the 7-Minute Life progress report. We talked about taking ownership of your day, focusing on your 5 before 11, making connections, and the more contacts you make every day, the more money you're going to make. Making sure at the bottom of this, you're taking care of yourself, you're staying hydrated, you're getting enough sleep, you're exercising, you're taking time to reflect on what's most important. You're creating these repeatable systems. Then we went into talking about a tracking system, which is in this daily planner right over here, using the tracking system to create some kind of point for you. I've shown you mine. You can go back and look at those, and I'm seeing some questions come in, but always asking yourself, what action grows my business? Then I came in and showed you, here's an example of what we talked about. And so I'm going to come back to Sam's question in a minute. I showed you the value. I showed you some tracking codes that I use. That's, again, an advanced class. Comes back to something really simple. Do you know the most valuable actions that you need to take every day? Really simple. At the end of the day, my goal was to get to 25 points. If I did that, I could say, did I do what I said I would do today? Yes. Anyway, y'all kind of get it. They're got to get out of the cow path. I went through why all this stuff is important, showed you the daily planner, and then gave you a link to get one. So that's what we're talking about today. I'm going to come back and answer any questions. So one of the things that Sam is asking, are your daily routines done before or after your 5 before 11? Well, again, that comes to a little bit different place. Let's see the best way to do this. Let me stop sharing. I'm going to show you the routines again, because I think it's interesting to know the full routine. Let me pull that up. Let's see where that would be. It'll take me just a moment to find it. And then please put any other questions that you have, morning routines, in chat. I'm happy to answer them. Morning and evening routines. Let's see if this is it. Nope. Printable. There it is. There are a lot of cool things too. And I never know how, I don't feel like people know all of the things that we have, and I can't share all of them with you on a class like this. I'm not sure the best way, but we have a lot of different types of tool. We have downloadable tools, printable tools, but this is what I think, Sam, you're talking about, are the routines. Sam, if you can put in chat, is this what you're talking about? Take another sip of water. These routines will be coming up in another class, but when you take your 7 minutes, we had people say, what should I think about during those 7 minutes? So I physically take my phone in the morning and I say, which I won't say, but I say SIRI, set a timer for 7 minutes. And I walk through this process. I ask myself, kind of do a gut check. How do I feel? What's my goal? What projects do I have in progress? I create the to-do list. I prioritize my task. I think about how long it'll take, and I create my 5 before 11 list. So Sam, the answer is my daily routines include creating my 5 before 11 list. So the daily routine is in the morning before I even get started. In the evening, I set a timer for 7 minutes. And what I do is I look at, how did I feel about today? Part of getting out of the cow path is learning what worked and what didn't work yesterday. So I do a gut check again. How did I feel? What did I accomplish? Was it high value or low value? What were my observations or obstacles? What kept me from being productive? Or if I was super productive, what made me super productive? At the end of the day, I always want to think about what I'm grateful for. What did I learn? And I begin to do some basic planning for the next day. And I do all of that with the daily planner. I'm Allyson Lewis. Tell your friends to go to our website and to join some of our upcoming events.